stand and say the pledge. Need for a moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right. Thanks, everybody. All right, so we'd like to approve the agenda first. Do we have any additions or changes or omissions to the agenda?
Where is the agenda? I make sure look. We want to talk about getting the sheriff's negotiation going,
Okay,
whatever that takes.
so
So put that on, that's old business.
under old business, unfinished.
And we need to set a personnel committee meeting,
Okay,
hopefully not this week, but maybe next week. And I know that last meeting, Robert's family they were concerned about the signature stamp. And so we need to talk about that. See, I know the attorney said we shouldn't take it out of here, but there's other ways that we can satisfy that.
Yep.
You know, okay. That was the three things I had.
okay. We'll talk about a date for
Yeah.
those meetings after this. Okay. So with those changes, anybody want a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with those additions.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Motion carried. All right, approval of the minutes. Any questions or changes in the minutes? I had mine on my computer and I went through it all.
Hopefully the chairs are there. Yeah. She's gonna correct something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it was,
Very first thing.
who was who was in attendance? I think it's changed on this one.
I don't have that.
Okay,
Did you correct the minutes as you said you're going to do?
Yes,
okay,
And where are they?
they're back uploaded on your,
yep,
They're here. Oh,
Yeah.
The only copy. Okay.
they're uploaded on yours.
on your computer too.
On your-
They're uploaded on there.
Oh, you did that today too?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't look today. All right.
Yep. Motion to approve the minutes of the October 10th, 2022 regular council meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Submit.
Second.
All in favor?
Fine.
All right.
Motion carried. Move on to approval of the bills. Just so you know, I did come in and go through and just make sure that we had the appropriate check for each check or each bill payment. Excuse me.
I got a couple of questions. What, that Krieger Excavating?
that's for the water shut off from next door.
Oh, okay, all right. And then, what's its Metro Sales?
That's, we pay monthly for our copier fee.
And then I mean, evidently you didn't, Excel, you didn't split it up. There's one in there for
So Excel
100 baseball.
will,
All get,
yeah, so they're split up when we do it, the spreadsheet, it's split up individually, but when they print out like this, it's all on one.
yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. And then the other one was US Bank, Visa Print business cards.
Vistaprint. So races business cards for his job
Okay,
and his name placard.
Okay, any other concerns about the bills? Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. So, report from Good Thunder Fire Department. We had 8 calls. And they had a breakdown on our. I have a printout of that. We had a breakdown on the computer. I didn't want my computer up here, so I wanted to just
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a total of 8 calls, 3 medicals, 2 vehicle accidents, 1 mutual aid in Mapleton and 2 grass fires. So kind of a busy month for them. I just wanted to say that I had some concerns brought up to me that I should let the Phil know. Just that people were burning, having campfires and stuff that were like out of control at one point when we were in a burn ban. But then also the garbage burns in barrels right by their houses. Yeah, quit doing that. Like they want us doing that, so. Other than that, there's our calls. We'll take community comment. If we can limit it to 3 minutes per comment, that would be awesome.
Going back to the fire
Oh,
department,
sorry.
got a request for approval of the.
And that's a new business.
increase.
Oh, yeah, I thought that.
That's
was
under,
gonna be-
okay,
Yep.
right, there's another line on it.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't
Right.
gonna forget that, though.
Okay,
We'll go ahead to community comment. We have people online or we have quite a few people in here.
Are we on new business?
We are on community comment.
Okay.
So whatever you have can happen during that.
I have a lot.
Okay,
Sarah,
yes. Maureen,
this is, yes, I just have a quick question. I am wondering if the council knows where we're sitting on the elementary school. Has Mike Drummer made any commitments or?
do we know anything about that?
The city made an offer to the school board for $1 plus the closing costs. And then we would be working with Mike Drummer for having to have him develop it into that affordable housing. How that looks, we're still in the process, but there was an offer made to the school for $1.
So who's gonna own the building, the city or Mike?
Mike. We'll
Okay,
own
I
it- we'll own it for 20 minutes or as long as it takes to transfer the title.
got it.
We don't want to own it.
If
Do you know,
he wants to do it, we're not gonna buy it if he doesn't want to do it at the end, but. Last we know,
so does the council know when they're gonna hear back from him on if he's gonna accept it or?
we haven't heard back from the school board yet.
Oh, from the school board. Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay,
Wonder what I gotta do to get a cigarette license and a 3-2 license?
3-2 license. We've never done that before, have we? So does that go through the county,
No, it goes through us.
through us?
I
Okay.
can get you guys the applications, or otherwise you can go online and print them off. Fill them out,
To-
pay the fee, council approve it, and we'll give you your license.
When's the next meeting?
December
14.
12th, unless we end up having one before then.
Is that something you'd like to get done sooner than later?
I need to get it done now.
Okay,
Before the 12th.
Not before the 12th.
okay.
You may have noticed we've suffered a little setback, so don't have a date yet to be open, so.
Okay. I'm just making sure, because if we were to have another meeting, we could have
I didn't
done.
hear you.
Say we suffered a little setback on our timeline, so
Oh, okay.
that'll be soon enough.
Okay,
Do you want me to get you those, or do you want to?
I do.
okay. I just want to say congratulations to the new council members that were voted in.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to, the mayor again for winning his election.
We have to do that in the official minutes, election results.
Well, that's what we were just talking about. We didn't get any information to certify the votes from the county.
We don't know the vote.
I mean, I know it per online. I could look it up.
But we don't know the write-ins from online,
No,
where we even see the write-ins.
we usually get a printout from the county that we would read.
To make it official, it's gotta be in the official minutes.
Yeah. He was just asking that. We'll make sure it's done in December. But
But it'll be done within like 3-4 days after the election.
Well, and Mike from the county hasn't done me anything, but I'll be calling him tomorrow morning to get it figured out so we can. If
And
we
if
have to have an emergency.
I was just gonna say,
Friday.
we have to have a really quick emergency meeting. We will to do that.
Well, that'd been great to call, knowing the meeting was coming up.
Days ago.
If you didn't have that information, I would have called because I thought that's why I went to you certified the results at the next meeting. Always,
I know,
I think.
thought we did too.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I asked tonight.
Yeah,
So y'all knew and nobody called.
Nope.
I don't know if this is time to ask, but as coming on as new council member, is there a way to have last year's audit findings cover letter?
I'm sure.
I would, yeah, that's all public
That's all public
information. Yeah, you bet.
So I can get a copy of that.
And you'll, yeah, and you'll get a, the code book and all that stuff too. Probably get you one sooner than later if you want to check it out ahead of time. Yes. We have extras, or do I need to bring mine in right away?
I think we have extras in the back of the codes and then we have the new council, the league new council binders that they'll get to.
Okay,
You want the last audit, the mid audit?
Well, I really have two, well,
We have two.
get the last couple,
over the last year.
sure.
We basically 3 of them, if they're every 6 months.
Yeah,
Anybody listening, it is public information to get a copy of that audit.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Do you?
Yeah.
I have it back to 2019 if you'd like to see it.
Audit code book.
I got a question. Is the comment turned back on online?
No. That says that it's turned off for the city attorney and that they have to have their names, and if they're gonna address council, they have to unmute or unmute and limit it to 3 minutes.
Is the llama on there tonight?
I didn't see a llama.
Yes,
Yeah, do you have any information on that? I asked that a week ago.
I did ask that and I can't pull up any information on like whose email is linked to it.
Figured,
Did my best I could.
well, you didn't get back to me, so that would be the best you could. Right?
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I apologize.
all right, any other community comment or concerns online or in house?
You want to open it up, we can open it up. I want to know if anything's been done, what we talked about the last 2 meetings. Policies, procedures, these letters, these. I don't know, a nice way of saying it,
The,
cards that look like waste management.
yeah,
Okay, have we done anything in 2 months?
Nope.
well, we have to,
We were told we can't do anything because the sheriff can't enforce it.
Well,
You were
then
here
why
for
aren't
that
we
meeting.
doing something
You were
on
here
the
for that
sheriff's
meeting.
part of it Then let's get these policies read through, get them rewritten and get things in motion.
And tonight we are going to talk about authorizing negotiations with the sheriff. We can't do that outside of a meeting.
I hope
Regular
something gets
meeting.
moving. You know what? I don't want my tax dollars to go to you people. Why should I?
Mhm.
You don't do nothing.
Mhm.
So why should I have to pay them when they're due? If they're due, I pay them. You guys are due to do a job. Read your policies, get them redone. Let's get this going.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous.
Maybe you could determine what your taxes are worth and pay what you want.
Yeah,
I heard you can do that with concrete.
good idea. I've got a lot of questions on, I've got Burkhart and Burkhart's paperwork back to 2019.
okay,
What has taken so long for somebody to go over this from 2019 and get some results? We've got here, I'd like, my first question that really bugs me, your checkbook, you go through it? Check numbers, 15,395 to 15,416 could not be found in the office by clerk.
Yeah.
You want to hand me your checkbook? I'll write out 16, 18 checks. and of your money, you're writing it out of our money. Where are these? What is this?
They haven't went through the bank. They're not here. They're missing checks. We have checks that we void out. I voided out 3 the other week to the county.
I don't trust that.
Well, if you call US Bank and ask them where their check numbers are, and if they tell you they ran through them, then you can be worried about it. But
Well, good.
your
I just wanna bring it
accusation
up.
accusation of me taking funds is not appropriate. Because checks are missing.
Your checkbook.
Yeah,
If
you're
they're
right.
missing, you'd have who you wrote them to, right?
They are not here. Like the physical checks are not here. They're not in our system. They are voided out by the attorneys or the accountants because they were not in the office.
Yeah, I mean, this is going back to 2019, 2020. I could go on, 3 minutes ain't gonna make it. Payroll, IRS overpaid by $3,800.
Things we've all
Multiple
addressed
payroll
already.
tax deposit revenue not made on time. Penalties, no payroll deposits to Minnesota revenue for third quarter.
Have addressed all these.
$3,000 sale of assets not recorded. We got hits goes on.
When
and
did you
on.
address them?
Well, we've talked about them when Burkhart comes here and reads them to
Okay,
us.
what'd you do about it?
Correct them.
Corrected them?
You did?
There's no follow-up on any of these.
No, they were corrected in all the audits. They were corrected.
Okay, and the one that cost with the extra money, what was done there?
You mean, what did we do because we had to pay a penalty?
Correct.
We didn't really do anything except talk about it to Ashley.
How many times
Ask
did we
her.
talk about it?
Hmm.
I can go through here. There's at least 20 penalties that we paid with city tax dollars.
I don't
We're
know,
paying. that.
maybe I would have to check that out. I don't believe there's 20, but I
Well,
thought
there's a lot.
thought there was like 3 or 4.
No.
I remember 4.
No.
With the IRS.
Okay, so what's gonna happen? So did we do a write-up? Was it just a conversation? How are we holding her accountable?
Well, personnel issues can't be discussed at public council meetings.
Really? Well, there's one on YouTube. The one she wanted showing for the whole world.
Well, we're not, we've always been advised to not discuss personnel issues.
So it
Meetings.
depends. I mean, he said, she said, if we want the public to know about it or we don't.
Well, the honest truth is, the law says is that it's totally up to Ashley or whoever, or race, if they want it to be public or not. Each individual issue.
If we were to have a personnel meeting and discuss something, those are closed.
Well, that's fine. Let's be
And-
happy.
Okay,
Yeah,
but what I'm trying to say is the open meeting law states that it can be closed unless the person that is being spoken about chooses to have it open.
So if it's to
That's
her
fine.
benefit, it'll be public. If it's not, it'll be closed.
I mean, and that's always been the open meeting law policy.
it isn't.
It's the law.
Are you allowed to know if they're reprimanded then, or
So I'm sorry, what?
are you allowed to know the public? Are you allowed to know if they're reprimanded?
I believe so. I believe that the outcomes are public, but I can't be sure about that.
So if we've already discussed it with her, what's the findings?
Well, we are scheduling a separate personnel meeting. Hopefully next week.
Going back to
Because
2019.
because we have to.
having problems that should have been done a long time ago. Here's a good one, $7,000 for owner.
We've discussed that several times.
Wait,
Okay,
that was in 2021. Now there's, or take that, yeah, now there's a additional $1,819 in April 1 of 2022.
So if
Where-
we discussed it, we didn't address the
We didn't
issue
do
and then she did it again. So now what's gonna happen?
We bought $7,000 worth of toner for the city of Good Thunder that the city of Mankato wouldn't use in a year. But then we turn around and spend another $2,000 of taxpayers' dollars on more toner?
Right.
It was an outstanding the bill that had to be paid. So yes, it was paid. Yes, it was after the fact, after it was already discussed, but it was an outstanding bill that had to be paid.
Correct. So how do we enforce it? So if an employee's late the first time, you talk about it. The second time, it's probably a write-up. Maybe sometimes it's terminated, depending on the situation. Yeah, so it depends. So what are we doing? We're just gonna talk about it here and then we're just gonna brush it under the rug until next month, right?
I wouldn't say right. but you know,
But that's what's been happening for 3 years.
Goes back to another observation, almost $1,400 penalty. Paid for back taxes. Here's our first quarter 2022. Refund of an overpayment that the auditors caught of $1,877. I mean, that money is. I don't care if it's $1 or if it's 10,000, it's coming out of our pockets.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'd have to be held way more accountable at my job. I wouldn't have a job.
Me neither.
well, that's what we're going to be talking about.
I've never had a
Yeah.
job interview, so I don't know. Point of order.
Let me just point out though, remember when this all started? That we were looking for the cheapest clerk we could find? Remember all that?
Which was a mistake because the lawyer, which is on top of everything these days, it seems, should have informed all you guys that that wasn't right, that you had to have a clerk, not a secretary.
But we had leadership at that time that that was the direction we were gonna go, and we did. And we've been bumping along a little bit, but the last audit, the auditor had some very positive comments about how everything was coded properly.
Well, some, have we worked out on our spreadsheets and how we're doing things, his recommendations, that will change.
Yep. I have it right here. Yep.
And so there has been a lot of progress made. And we will be having a personnel meeting. I don't know what the outcome will be of that at this point, but we will be having that here, like I say, hopefully next week. Hopefully not this week anyway, next week, I hope anyway.
My point is, you're gonna be using taxpayers' dollars. Be held accountable.
Mhm.
It's plain and simple. There ain't a single person in this room that's gonna say, go ahead and spend at will. Our tax
No.
rate for the city and the size of Good Thunder
No.
is damn high.
And you gotta have a paper trail. You can't continue to make all of these very expensive mistakes. And have no repercussion at all.
Well,
I mean, yeah, you make mistakes and you keep getting a raise.
Yeah.
The last
$28
person had an education
Yeah,
and some people wanted to match what that person had. That was a completely different job qualification. This one was lowered. So you can't say, oh, that person made this. Well, you don't have the same qualifications. You can't pay that person the same amount.
well, also, let's all understand that the state determines pay of a clerk, of a female clerk, at least.
Anybody with degrees, accountability, education.
Pay equity.
They
determines that.
determine that. Well, they told us what we shall
Job
pay.
performance should be taken into consideration.
Pay
Yeah.
equity too.
We were told what we will pay, or we lose local government aid. So we're kind of tied there.
And it's funny what else you can find too. All you gotta do is dig into names and whatever. The last meeting, it was brought up that we were wondering if the city of Good Thunder had a notary. And we were told no.
No, you weren't. You weren't given an answer. Tom said the city doesn't have to have a notary. You do have a notary. I still have my license.
The lawyer said, I don't know if the city has to have an order.
Well, there you
That's
go.
how it actually went.
Yeah, most cities do offer notary services. And Ashley does have a notary.
But
Is that
we
back
know
to the city?
what the procedures
No, I
are
think for that.
to be an auditor, to be able to sign stuff like that.
Well,
You can't sign documents that the people aren't sitting here in front of you, which we know has been done.
that's correct. And I'll address that too, because
And if that isn't the city notary, then it should be notarized during city time. Anything shouldn't be notarized during city time.
well, but if you needed something notarized, that's what cities normally do. They allow people to come in and note and have their clerk or whoever has the notary.
quote unquote, the people have to be here.
Step by
Said it.
step, there's procedures that have to be followed.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
It's gotta be
the
witnessed.
person wasn't here.
I'm not going there. I'm just saying though, I'm answering your question that most cities do offer notary services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they follow a procedure.
Yes.
That's what a notary is. You're witnessing a signature.
Yeah.
You don't
Yep.
notarize a piece of paper when the person ain't even here.
Yeah, and
Or was it here or was it in the country?
and
Are we
maybe,
doing it in the city offices? Or are we doing it on a farm?
And I don't know that. Maybe
Well-
those things happen.
We are holding people accountable around here. That's the latest rapport. So let's start holding people accountable.
You
Okay,
bring up a good question though, Tom. Who pays who? If somebody's gonna be paid for that, who paid who? And if it's done somewhere during business hours other than here, how does that work on someone getting paid to go do that?
well, I think you can charge up to $5 as a notary. And normally that just goes to the notary.
If you're gonna leave here during business hours to go do it. would you-
Well, I don't know that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying though, that the charge is $5, I believe, for a notary, right? Am I right?
To the city then or to the person?
To the notary. To the notary.
Anyone need to punch out or anything for that?
No, not normally. No, I'm not saying that if Ashley or whoever the notary is drives 50 miles or 10 miles or whatever and does something that for someone personally, then maybe that should be punched out for. I don't know that answer. I don't know if that ever happened, that it wasn't. That, you know. That ever happened on city time. I don't know that.
Well, when they admit to multiple different situations and scenarios to the sheriff's department, whatever, admitting to virtually fraudulent. I have a problem giving my checkbook to somebody I can't trust, a taxpayer.
I know where you're going.
Well, that's.
I know where you're going, Jim. However, just keep in mind again that we have no power on that. The state regulates a notary. We do
That's
not.
fine. I don't care what the
So
state does.
if
with
the state-
notary. I don't even care that she's a notary. I don't care who's a notary. If it's a notary thing, you follow the procedures, step 1, step 2, step 3, you don't do it, fine. I have a problem that this is an employee of the city of Good Thunder.
Mhm.
Again, I'm a taxpayer of the city of Good Thunder. This so-called employee goes off and does something wrong, illegal, fraudulent, whatever. City gets sued because the person is an employee of the city. Who pays for that? That's my problem.
Yeah, I don't know that answer.
Well, I know who that is.
And
Just turn it back on the good old taxpayers and we'll smile and hand you some more money.
the thing is, we have to realize too, is that you're talking about an investigation or something.
So
That's not even,
it's 100% public information.
it's not even a charge or anything. It's an investigation. So we gotta be a little careful here,
We know how that is too,
you know.
on the other side of the spectrum here.
It was in April and there sure were a lot of city lawyer bills in April.
Speculation, yeah.
No, that's speculation, yeah.
Now, can we have the city attorney do legal work for us and have the city pay for it?
I'm not, who's saying that that's what happened?
I know damn well that's what happened.
Well, maybe we
We
should.
talked about personal vendettas 2 months ago. And one individual calling the city attorney. No, it's gotta be a council. We talked about that. That's what I was told. So no more personal vendetta issues to the city attorney. If they want an attorney, they can go hire their own. I'd have to.
Well, we don't know, I don't know where you're going with the personal.
Well, everybody
thing
knows
here,
where I'm going with this.
you know,
Does the lawyer bill out what he does, what the issues were?
a dynamized bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen those.
So the one for April,
We could look that up. We could pull that out. We'll review that. See,
because it's curious, this all went down in April and that's when we had $3,100 or $3,300 in lawyer fees.
right.
Because obviously we knew what we did was wrong. So just trying to cover our butt.
Well. I don't hate to go down that road, so,
But we do have to
This
look into it.
yeah, we will look into it, but, you know, I think we've even seen that bill. I don't remember, it was a long bill, a lot of entries, so,
So is that public
That's
since
public.
we pay them?
oh,
So
absolutely,
we can have a copy of that bill too.
absolutely.
That can be put in for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Or the next special
Absolutely.
meeting or whatever, not the day after.
So you'll have it here ready for us at the next meeting.
Sure, Make sure that happens, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the lawyer said a majority of them came from Robert and we all know it didn't. So really curious to see what his bill says compared to what's on video of him actually saying, because I spoke with him and he didn't talk to him that many times, maybe a few, he said. So we all know where the calls came from and we're all having to pay for it. So I'm just curious, talk after talk after talk after talk, are we gonna have the same talk next month, or are we actually gonna do something about all this extra money? You get scammed once on toner and then you get it again?
Yep.
Talk to Steve.
You may not like the answer, but we'll have an answer.
Action is required.
Yeah, something's gotta be done.
It's,
It's a lot of money.
I mean, just say it's really,
Taxpayers, because we just keep working it out, but
it's easy to say. It's easy to make statements, but it's not that easy to make things happen.
I do it on a regular, so I mean, it's easy.
I-
You can make it easy. It's how you put a priority.
all
I
you
mean,
have
we
to do-
continue to just make mistake after mistake after mistake, and nothing gets done, so of course, we're gonna continue to make mistakes.
All you have to do is make documentation. I don't care if it's the president of the United States down to the street sweeper of Beaufort.
Yep.
All you have to do is documentation.
I pay withholding weeklies in 20 years. I haven't had one penalty from the federal or the state, not one, and I've been doing it for almost 21 years. So I know can be done. If something needs to be addressed, that's a lot of money.
I can't discount that.
I just hate coming here and having the same thing
Nothing.
said over and over again, like policies. Who looks at policies for 3 years, but you can't change one of them? Really?
You just said, though, too, you're gonna negotiate with the sheriff's department. What, on a new contract to do what?
Well,
Control County 10?
we've been
That's the
told,
only road they can?
we've been told that we need to have a different contract in order for them to enforce our entire
Ordinances.
code.
Will the language fix that? Just simple language,
Yep. Yep.
so that's easy enough. then.
Yeah.
Well, possibly.
Supposedly, I mean, yeah, that's what they're saying.
If they
Yep.
agree to it.
Well, yeah, it's all gonna be both sides.
Right now, we're paying him for money or for nothing. So again, that's a waste of money. He's been looking at policies for 3 years. We haven't changed one. They go for 3 years. We've pissed away our money on nothing.
I'll go back to, also, this is, keep in mind, leadership is changing here a little bit, so, things maybe will change. Yeah, maybe.
No, you're gonna get sick of us because we're not going away.
No.
I'm not going away. Stirred up a hornet's nest with that stupid BS letter with that camper. I'm gonna,
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be an awful lot more people that if we actually do send the sheriff to do all of those, there'll be that many more people not happy with us, so.
Quick question, in reference to the issue with the sheriff's department being able to enforce, is it our ordinances that they can't enforce? Because we know they can enforce statute law. And anything that's not within the boundaries of the statute law would be our ordinances. And I'm just gonna speculate that when the sheriff's department agreed to take over the policing and the rules, regulations within the community, did they not address or even look at our ordinances to see if they could?
Well, we thought they did.
We thought we did. They did.
We thought, we understood that they did, because in the contract, it even says that they are taking over the responsibilities of the police department,
So with that
but it doesn't work, I guess.
section or next part of this question is, did we meet with the sheriff's department with the backlog of issues that were arising on a weekly, monthly basis, address the
Well-
issue to the sheriff at the time, to what happened here? We're under the impression that with the money that you're charging us, you are going to enforce not only the statute laws, but also our ordinance laws within our community, and they're not being done. You're telling us something different. So you're not living up your end of the contract. Because you didn't tell us that you couldn't enforce our ordinances. We were led to believe that you were.
Well, we,
That question ever brought up, sure.
that's
Will
what,
be,
what?
it will be.
Yeah.
That's the question we need to talk
Better
about.
off to Go back to Tri-City and have them do it because they would do a better job of it.
They're no longer,
It would cost.
they were disbanded.
That's why we,
On the money to reestablish it.
It would be.
Pretty much what we gotta do is go over the contract that we sign and add stuff or some, take away stuff.
Yep.
And
We
we'd
talked to.
be adding stuff. So
St. Clair has the county.
Yeah, does anybody talk to them? Do they enforce their ordinance?
I don't know. Yes, Mr. Hiller.
So.
Good question.
Kind of, at the last meeting, kind of looks like. You guys were even looking back at that city attorney and going like. Well, I thought you were advising us on all this, and it was like 3 years worth of work, and now you're telling us that they can't do that. And I guess.
and that's where we find, like a lot of it isn't in our contract. And that's what it boils back down to.
The amount of years that's been going on.
Right.
I would have thought that he should have been a little bit more on top of this. Therefore, how long has he been the city attorney?
Too long.
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, I've been here for like how long have you been here? You've been there since then?
No, he hasn't been.
Wasn't
as
it-
long as
wasn't
I've
it Sue
been.
Chambers
Sue
part of that?
Chambers- Sue Chambers.
Cause I remember her.
Well, as I would like. to
10 years maybe.
Throw out a. From me, you, to put in a request of proposals for a new city attorney.
Agreed.
1000%.
It kind of sounds like there's a number of outside entities that took advantage. Of our situation, ours being the communities. And even you guys as council members. You mentioned the county attorney has. Not met up the expectations. That we would have expected. With the county attorney and on the issues, everything from advisements to. Deciding which. Instances to follow through on. Seemed like they were more picking and choosing on what they wanted to do, what they didn't want to do. And obviously weren't held accountable for their decisions and advisements that they gave to you guys as council members, which you guys. Only use that information to pass along to the community members. So unfortunately, that's one thing that went bad. And the other one, obviously, is the sheriff's department. Not advising you guys that, hey, we can't uphold your ordinances because of this or this or this. They just let it go until you guys trial and error.
I feel like there was a discussion that there were certain things they would take care of. That they talked about not taking care of barking dogs and things like that, but
But that should have been black and white.
I agree. And we need to change our verbiage in our ordinances. About, who enforces it. It still says the police chief. We need to change that to the county but we need to have that conversation and we need to have a list of. What we do want them to.
Yeah. And
Enforce.
that's what we're going to authorize doing tonight at a public meeting.
Yes.
So is there a time frame for that?
Uh,
What time, Lance?
I couldn't answer that.
We would have to set up a
2
meeting
months.
and get a hold of them too.
Gonna be talking, that we're gonna be talking.
And then talking.
Sheriff, so that who they talk to, sheriff. So.
Yeah, that's what we've been invited. We have to talk to the sheriff.
We met with Mike Mauer last time.
Yeah, we did meet with Mike Mauer the last time.
Yeah.
Sheriff, chief deputy. Sure, they both got authority.
Yeah.
Peterson's been there for years, so. Pretty good with that.
Brad.
Anybody else that the sheriffs take care of for towns?
Sure, other than Vernon, well,
Amboy, Vernon.
Amboy's with
No,
Mapleton.
Oh, Mapleton.
Boy,
sorry.
people-
But you said St. Clair, because I know they do that, and then Pemberton. Mid Lake has got their own.
Don't they do Vernon?
I think they do.
I think. they-
Yep, they do. I think you're right.
Amboy and Vernon, and then
Because when Vernon decided to do that, that's when we were like. I mean, the amount of money,
No, it's just Mapleton and Amboy.
so what we are paying for is, their patrol and going through town. So
When do they go through town?
Should reach out to whoever they do, what they do have. Like Vernon,
Yeah,
if Vernon's got the sheriff, see what kind of verbiage they have.
yeah, that's a good idea. And St. Clair.
See, what's always interesting to me is the fact that when we first started this, I remember the conversation when that Sarah's talking about. It was barking dogs. I remember that for sure. And it seemed like there was one other thing that they wouldn't really want to do. But everything else was, I thought that they were going to be able to do. In fact, they even requested all of our ordinances be sent down to them so they can review them. You know, to kind of learn them and everything. And you've done that twice, I think you've sent that down there to them, so.
So why do they take out barking dogs? Well, that's just as annoying as a motorcyclist.
I don't know. I just remember those, those smaller things, they wouldn't be
There was
taking
just
care of that stuff.
two things, I think, that they wouldn't.
I know. But for some reason, the barking dogs comes up.
Good question as far as what times the sheriff's departments are here patrolling our streets within our community. That is logged every single time that they come in, every single time that they leave, including responding to an incident within the community. So that's all public information that you requested from the sheriff's department. On how many hours they actually spend. And how many, just like the fire department, how many calls were domestic, how many calls were,
So should the police be added to the meetings? Because you talk about the fire calls and stuff, shouldn't you have a little?
Usually we do. Usually we do.
Yeah, we usually have a monthly,
Yep.
how many
You're right.
calls they made for what and stuff, so.
Okay.
It's, I mean, it's not elaborate, but I mean, it's how many hours they spent in town.
it should be included.
Usually we-
Included.
Yeah.
Usually we have the hours and how many we were charged for. And, for quite a while, we've been charged for the same rate, even though they show that they would have charged us for more hours, but they don't.
So why don't we have it this month?
They didn't send it to us, because when they send it to us, we have it.
Okay, so can somebody call and get that? I mean, the meetings are the second Tuesday or Monday of every month. So wouldn't that set a reminder in somebody's brain to call down there and say, hey, we haven't received this. Can you send it to me? I mean, that's part of a job,
They
right?
bill us quarterly, right? Don't they?
Yeah, they do bill quarterly.
But they should be able to report monthly what they spend here.
Well, usually they would send us something, so.
But that's an issue that could be retouched upon again when you meet with the sheriff. Ordinance issue and stuff.
Say that again, Kellen.
The
Meetings. we just taking a phone call.
monthly reports, sheriff's department, for the hours he spent with the community. Could be touched upon again when you guys meet with the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
About the ordinance issues, just to say, hey, clarify, we would like to have a monthly report, just like we do with our fire department. And then at the same time, you guys go over the ordinances and things like that, and any troubles that you guys come to have had over the past 3 years. Just kind of like an overview. This is when we contracted you guys. This is what we expected. This is what you guys told us. This is not what we're seeing in the last years. That type of thing. Because again, as Jim mentioned, there's a degree of accountability when you're contracting somebody or you're paying somebody, there's a certain amount of expectation of what you're paying for. And make sure that you're getting back. And if you're not getting that back, or you're feeling like you're not getting back, it's negotiable, but you go back in and say, hey, this is what we agreed upon. We feel this is not what we're doing. And they may have an explanation why they're not longer getting it. You can take that information and filter it back to anybody in the gallery here that would ask that question or would want that information.
I have a question. Did the city attorney go over the sheriff's contract before it was signed?
We thought he did.
We thought he did, yeah.
I mean, as a council, we thought he did.
Do a lot of things.
That's at last meeting. I asked him, I said, how come we weren't aware of this quite a while ago? What's going on? So.
Like, first plan, you don't get paid to do it, second.
Tom, do I need a gambling license too or something for the lottery?
I believe so. I think so. Don't they?
I don't know. The bars is through the fire department and the Dakota Mart doesn't have one.
Yeah, that's
They
different.
used to, though.
So
But I feel like the gas stations used to have because our current one doesn't have that, right? So I feel like there's some process you need to do that.
I mean, you definitely gotta get
I
set up with
think
the,
that's-
It might be the
You can
same.
look all that up for him too and get that to him. Yeah.
Lottery tickets.
You gotta go buy a lottery.
Harlan comes in every day.
Literally deal with it.
Yeah, I think that's something to do with the state, but she's gonna look into that when she gets your 3-2 and tobacco license.
And gaming. Lottery.
Yeah, I'm adding that to the lottery tickets.
So are we doing these meetings with like the sheriff and stuff before the end of the year? Or starting next year with the new people?
We hope to get it
this year, yeah.
this year yet.
Yep.
They're renewed every year, but
No,
Last time it was renewed was October of 20.
What is the sheriff's department getting paid?
It's 90.
about $9,000 per quarter. It's about 36,000 per year. We're spending over $100,000 for a partial of Tri-City,
like 120.
120,000 for our third, whatever it was.
What's the contract state for hours of coverage?
We
40
had 40 hours,
hours.
I think it's 45 hours, but they normally put in between 60 and 80 hours per cycle per month.
Per month?
They give us more because they're actually passing through here, so. And we asked them when we first started if we'd be charged for extra hours, we thought we would. So every time a bill comes and it's 80 hours coverage, we're only billed for 40. They don't bill us anything extra. Everyone was super happy with their coverage until recently.
until we sent out a letter. We sent the
Everyone
letters
was
out.
happy, everyone was impressed. We were all impressed that they were giving us almost twice as much coverage as we were paying for all the time.
And we do have the last contract, they were supposed to be here 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning and 2:30 to 3:30 during schools when it was in session. But
Yeah, in session.
See, that's another reason why we need to talk with them, because that's gonna change because school isn't in session here, so.
there's still bus picks up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but make sure they know that they're still, I would assume they do,
Cause there's still
Oh, yeah.
bus stops now.
both in the morning and after school. We just have to contact them and see when we can get a meeting on the schedule with them. Okay,
Moving on.
all right, we'll move on to,
I'm not, I got one more question.
what's that?
I asked the lawyer there if it was illegal for a city official to determine the value of property. Of city property and pay for it on his own value, and he said that would be illegal. Anybody
Okay.
remember that? Last
I
time.
remember you asking.
Okay,
Well, I wanna know where Jim gets off of taking the value on his own for that cement and deducting close to $400 and paying six something instead of almost 1,000
and that bill was from who?
for the concrete that he owed the city.
From who? From who?
That's,
Bill that Mariano sent,
yeah,
that was in question.
Mariano sent bills of what people owe him for labor and what people owe the city for concrete. Well, Jim's was close to $1,000. And then he measured it up himself and paid six something.
But
It
that,
wasn't six something, it was eight something, and I measured it and I rounded up a half yard, so. But that's illegal. Can I? Robert came in here and was mad that no one had paid for their concrete, so I measured mine and I paid for it.
You were there when it was for? You watched the whole process?
No, I wasn't there, but I'm a professional estimator, so. Have
We
the
were
right
here
to do that.
professional.
You don't have the right to determine the value of that property. You know,
That's illegal.
Tom asked me to determine the value of all these other slabs because I am the most experienced person that can. It's illegal for you to determine the value of yours. It's devalued. Then the city needs to do it and send out bills. It's devalued.
well, wait a
And
minute,
that's illegal.
wait a minute, though. That was a Mariano bill. Okay? Doing payable to him.
No, that was, he turned those in as, see, I think you guys got that all wrong. That was, he put in an amount that the people owe the city for the concrete. And then he turned in an amount for people that owe the labor.
My understanding from sitting right next to your dad was that that's not how it was. It was a bill from Mariano. And the mix-up was, would the city should be collecting from Mariano.
And see, though, from what, because there's a language barrier there. You know,
Well, yeah,
and what he explained to me, because I don't know why he thought I was involved, but he said that this is what people owe the city for concrete, and this is what people owe him for labor.
The
So,
bill had the labor and the concrete together on it.
sent to the individuals.
Yeah,
It doesn't say anywhere on there to pay the city for concrete.
No, it
and then
didn't.
he sent different bills, because originally he had it what people owed the city, and what people owed.
Now, I can't answer that, but I know that sitting right next to your dad, that was not the explanation that we got
And
that.
I watched that meeting, and I don't think that that's how I don't think it got relayed correctly. But the whole thing of it is the city bought the concrete.
Yes,
So then nobody has the authority to measure it up and determine what they owe. Less than what they were presented.
I wasn't presented it until like 6 months after I paid. I paid in May and we got a bill in August.
I thought you said you paid like in.
That's not what I said. That's what you said. You said, oh, you got it a month later. No, we got it in I have a receipt from the city for when I paid for it. When Robert came in and said he paid for his piece of whatever it was. And he asked whoever else had paid, I came in the next day and paid my bill.
So you still determine the value of the city's concrete,
That's correct.
or that would be illegal.
I don't know if it's illegal or not. Somebody had to measure it up.
Lawyer said it was.
I don't know if you know what you were talking about. I didn't know what you were talking about. We were talking about setting prices on stuff.
I asked him if it was illegal for a city official to determine the value of city property. And he said it would be illegal.
I don't know.
Well, he said it was. So right there, that's the crime.
I guess if it is, someone will come and make the charges,
Well, that'd have to be presented to somebody,
you know.
you know? First of all, it should be rectified by you guys. And then someone will have, a whistleblower will have to call and complain. And then charges could be brought.
And then you can have it measured up and you'll find out that I paid for what I got. Because
I don't know. I don't have much faith in your estimates because they don't match what we do. You know? Like I
Well-
said last time, if I get a number, Mariano gets a number, and the concrete company delivers that number. And at the end of that, you have a 5-gallon pail left over, who's wrong? Obviously, all three of those people agreed. If you came up with something substantially less. Who do you think's wrong in that equation?
I don't know, couldn't tell you, but they show that there's a 12 by 12 footing underneath all those retaining walls and there isn't.
Of what?
The little 2-foot retaining walls on the whole project. At least in mine, there's no 12 by 12 footing underneath all of those.
I couldn't. tell you
That accounts for 12 yards all by itself if it's there.
I couldn't tell you that. I know they poured a footing before they poured the wall, because they had rods sticking up. I remember that.
They poured to the sidewalk and they inserted rods into it and then they poured the wall. There's no footing underneath it.
No, I guess we'll have to dig that up if somebody really wants to get into that.
You can pound a stake next to it, you can drill a hole, you'll see it's not there.
I do know that one time you came up with like 4 truckloads short. And then all of a sudden there's 18 truckloads short. So I don't know where this.
I never ever said 18 truckloads.
Well, that's what was turned into the state. $25,000, 18.2 truckloads. Sorry, 182 yards, what I just called 18 truckloads. So who determined that?
No idea,
No idea.
no idea. I can tell you it wasn't me. You smile all you want. I have nothing to do with that, period.
But you measured that up and you determined that there was at least 40
It's been
yards.
discussed in these rooms over and over again. I don't know who turned what into where, but it wasn't me.
And the
Nobody
other,
said that.
yes,
I really,
Asked you to measure that and determine what was there and what wasn't.
I told in this room many times, I measured it to see how much concrete we owed for. Because the slips on the day didn't match the loads that came, and I said, these don't match up. For when they poured our driveway and our patio and our sidewalk, all those loads, I got copies of them and they don't match up to anything.
Well, they're not going to, because you're not gonna pour this little piece. If you're gonna pour the rest of this, you're gonna pour all this including this little piece.
Yeah, they poured a large area that day.
You're not
Could have been
get
2.5 trucks. I know how it works.
every little thing that you poured. You know, if it was all poured together, you'd have one invoice, but multiple places. I mean, that's,
You get an invoice for every single truck. You don't get it for.
yes, but you don't get for every individual property owner. If it's all put together, it's all in one invoice. So you're not gonna take an invoice that has 10 yards on it and go to a spot that you poured 4 and you go, well, this don't match. Of course it don't, because you forgot to include the other 6 that was around here.
You're overthinking because they poured my apron, my driveway, my sidewalk, my patio all at one. There should have been 2 8-yard loads together and there
I'm
weren't.
not talking about that. I'm telling you why invoices won't match one specific piece of concrete. Because it's not poured per property owner.
Yeah, we get
What
that.
he did. Okay, so where did you come up with the 4 truckloads first missing? And then who came up with the 18?
No idea. I don't know who came up with 18 truckloads. We know there was a billing problem, right? There was, every bill was sent there that, or not every bill, but many bills were sent there. That should have been sent here, addressed.
Well, they all got sent here.
I mean, the address was on, it was a station.
Once again, that had nothing to do with the poor guy that took the fall for it.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to the wrong person. You can be mad at me all you want, but I had nothing to do with that, period.
When,
You're the same guy that walking around beginning of the summer, telling about how everything was wrong, trying to get community support to go after Robert for all the things he's done wrong. Going to all the property owners, people living in town, on the down low, not out front, but just on the down low.
What are we talking about? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Looking for votes for the position that your wife said you clearly didn't want.
I didn't.
Why'd you waste your time?
I didn't want the position. No one had signed up at noon the day of the last day. So I said, I'm gonna sign up because Robert,
You didn't want it.
I wanted to make some change.
Everything that is brought up against my dad are the things that you were campaigning on, but yet you had nothing to do with that.
We wanted to make change, but
We
we've
know.
been looking at policies for 3 years and we haven't made a change yet.
Correct.
Well, I've rewritten the person, one person can't do it all, just so you know. We went through the personnel policy, made lots of notes, went through the codes, made notes, went through all of them. First of all, even Kennedy said we can't do our ordinances because it says police chief, it says police department, and it needs to say sheriff's department. The entire thing, there's 50 spots needs to be changed before they can even do that.
So you have all those policies pulled out, ready to make those changes.
No, I went through lots of them, yes. I went through the personnel policy completely, stem to stern twice, went through the ordinances, yes.
Okay, so
And then.
why go through them if nothing changes? You just said.
The entire council has to agree, and it's not something you can take 60 pages of and just do it in one night. We tried before, we get like 3 pages in an hour.
Okay, so in 3 years, we've had 36 meetings. So you could have brought one to the table each meeting,
Yep.
take 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever. But we did this many.
You
0.
know, I tell you, I don't think this discussion is really going anywhere.
No, because
Tim-
we get the same
Tim
answer every
is,
time we bring it up.
Time talk,
is,
please.
Jim is, leaving council. So to be sitting here and harping on this issue with him really isn't fair to him anymore. I mean,
Except for the
His
crime part,
experience
Yeah.
for the last 8 years.
different one.
except for the crime part. You know,
Well, I don't know.
We do the same thing with our water bill,
I say property tax.
property taxes. Can we do it?
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So is that a yes then?
Not-
No, it's not a yes.
Okay, so how
You're
can
asking
we?
me something I can't answer. and
Okay,
you know
but
that
we
you
can do it.
you're asking me the question in a way that I can't answer that.
So I'm just saying, if he can decide what his bill is,
I'm
I'm
just-
gonna decide what mine is.
I'm just
We need
trying
to-
to
we have-
say where this discussion is going is almost troubling because, you know, I worry about the fellow that should be here.
Yep.
All of this discussion can be kind of like rolled into indirectly
Yeah.
talking with the city. Because you're definitely directly connected to him. I worry about that a lot.
They're also connected as taxpayers.
Yeah.
to This town, they have a voice, they can use it. Just like the rest of
Absolutely.
us do. And it isn't nothing to do with the mayor. It has nothing to do with anything else. It is, again, going back to 8 years, 16 years, 12 years, we've been hearing the same thing. Let's get something done. You won't have to hear that question again.
Mhm.
We keep asking this question, we get the same answer. I'm gonna keep asking the same question. Let's get something done.
Yeah, that's fine, Jim. I'm just addressing the.
No, you're trying to.
They're they're dragging in the.
They can speak.
They,
They're taxpayers.
I worry here.
I'm a taxpayer.
We didn't have a problem with these same people, but since 2019, now we have all of these problems.
Well, I can't discount that either. That's true.
Same people.
But I can't speak to that.
Well, the big thing is, let's get something done so you don't have to keep hearing these questions, because they're gonna keep coming until something gets done.
Can we just appoint a committee to sit down with the ordinances? I would even consider helping with it. Just get the damn thing done. Quit talking about this, set a time. Interested parties come, go over it and do it. My God, how many years do we have to listen to this?
A lot.
Well, you can't run a city or a business doing this. How many here would take the time to go over this and try to get it done in a timely manner? Right. Who here would do it? Jim?
Sure.
1,000%.
Scott? Fine. Let's do it. I know I just own a property and I don't have a residence here, but by God, I would be happy to help.
You have a
Mhm.
say. Yeah.
So let's just do it. Quit talking about it. Set up a damn time and let's get it done.
No wonder why we're all frustrated. It's the same story. Next month, we're gonna have these same talks because
Well-
nothing gets done.
Like I said,
And have you
the previous
elevated us? Yeah.
the previous leadership was perfectly okay with everything the way it was going, and that's changing here somewhat. So now maybe we can.
Previous leadership, it's okay. 6 individuals.
Just to throw my name into the hat for that, if you guys decide to do a board of civilian board. Overlook some of the ordinances to go over them, so I would be interested in that. Along with that, I'd like to change the subject matter and ask a question. You mentioned issue about water bills and stuff like that. Did we ever, we in the community, decide how we're gonna handle residents that use water but don't use the drain system? Garden hoses.
Yeah.
Watering lawns.
Yeah,
Yes,
Are we gonna get a separate meter?
yes,
you can do that.
we've done that for a couple of years already.
People have been doing that for quite some time.
At one time they weren't, because we didn't have it.
We didn't have any for a while there, you're correct.
So you have them in hand now.
Do we? I don't know that for a fact.
The city maintenance installed that,
Yeah, normally,
so I just.
because it just hangs on the faucet.
Plus,
Oh, okay. so
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To the faucet or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for your outside faucet.
It isn't a special installation. It's just,
That gets read manually.
yes, yes.
What is the charge
That's
for
when they
those?
had the old ones, Tom, though. Now they got the new ones, you can't leave them outside. They'd have to have it dedicated.
Yeah, they gotta be inside,
Have to
Right.
be up inside.
Right.
they're all in the basements.
Were they like 150? Is that what they used to be?
If I remember right, it's $150.
And once the homeowner's done with it and returns it, is that a refundable? Or is that
Normally we sell,
one-time fee.
normally we sell them,
Okay, so that's what it is. You're selling, so then it becomes.
so you can keep it 10 years. Yeah.
And calibration issues
Well, shouldn't be an issue.
could, but
We've had issues. The software quit supporting the reader and, yeah. So,
I guess if, you know, you go through a normal summer. If you have it 3 years, just like water meters that we have now, it's really just kind of a, you look at history. you know, all of a sudden you go, oh gee whiz, you know. She could chat, actually called me just or texted me here last week, asking about a property that suddenly came up on the radar as being odd, you know, and same thing that happened to that, you know.
Again, the reason why I'm asking a lot of these other questions is to help alleviate, coming questions that may arise after the fact.
Mhm.
So we got the regulations or use descriptions or whatever all up front, so that way the homeowners already know exactly what their responsibilities are, what's the fees are gonna be, and who's installing, who's not installing, whatever the case may be. I don't think we have that information available when homeowner requests that.
Yep.
Because I know everybody's life changes over a period of time. What you used to use, is maybe not what you're gonna use 3 years from now or 2 years from now.
Right.
I guess I'll get hold of the city clerk and make that request.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I just have a question about this. Sorry, go ahead.
Can we make a motion or something to set up a time and a group of people to get this other stuff done? Please?
Okay, but we need to find out whether we can actually set a committee of community members, whether that's in statute to do that. But as soon as we find that out, then we can do that.
So that would be a call to the attorney.
More than
Or the
likely,
League of Minnesota Cities.
I don't, yeah, can you go through League of Minnesota?
Go through the League of Minnesota Cities or the Minnesota.
Because those two places are free and they give free.
Do they have something that is a basic outline or a, hey, we have this that a lot of cities use, here, use it. Anything like
Check
that
with the-
available from the League of Cities?
We'd have to find out.
League of Cities or the Minnesota Council of Governments, one of the
Yep.
two.
Well, for God's sakes, let's get the ball rolling and get done with this. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
So this house down here, so at the last meeting, I mean, I've heard numerous different things. So did we buy it as a rental? Or did we buy it to put a well there? Cause we all know it's not Robert's $50,000 playground. So was it a rental, bought as a rental, or was it bought to use as a well?
For a well,
For a well?
but it's a
Because
close,
that's The last meeting.
pardon me,
Supposedly, it's supposed to be a rental.
it was talked about, but it wasn't, I mean, whether it got to be a rental or not, when we need a well, the rental would go down the road.
So
Because
that's
we
my
need a,
question. If we bought it as a rental, why is it?
that was the main reason.
Place was a dump 30 years ago.
Exactly, but apparently it was bought as a rental, so I'm just clarifying.
Oh, it was bought,
Rental or well.
it was bought as a piece of property that was ideal for a well.
Okay.
That's close to the water plant and everything, so
Well, and water tower, or just, can you put?
you could put a tower, not a tower, but just a silo type thing there, so I mean, yeah,
So it wasn't
And-
Robert's $50,000 playground.
no, it just,
Okay.
no, it just all got
Okay.
I just don't want to.
turned around, no, it just it's for a well. Yep,
Didn't know.
it was the only thing close enough that had enough square footage to put one in. You gotta stay away from sewer and other areas in like, you know. Corner lot up here would have been perfect, but you're too close to all the sewers. So I mean, it just, no, that was it, yep, and I. Even got a cost and what it cost to tear it down, so, and haul out,
The house?
Yep.
Getting on that tonight, Diane, or?
we'll see. It's just about bedtime here now, but this. And the clock ain't changed, so it really looks late.
Yeah, it does. Well, if it's okay, I'd like to move on to new business because we want to make sure we get our agenda items taken care of tonight too. We have a resolution 2022-11, which is the transfer from the general fund to the sewer fund. This is what we talked about to make that sewer fund right. Yep, so it's City Council of Good Thunders considered the following recommendation from the city's financial auditing firm of Burkhart and Burkhart. The city council has determined that it's necessary to make the sewer fund solvent, and the council has determined that the city has sufficient funds to transfer the money in-house. Whereas the city believes that it was in the best interest of the residents of the city of Good Thunder to transfer funds to the general account to make the account positive. Be it resolved that the city of Good Thunder designated $150,000 of its general fund to be placed in the sewer fund for the purpose of paying for improvements made in 2021. This was dated November 14th, 2022. And just so you guys know what this is, we did some in-house work. And it's to just transfer those funds to make things solvent. And like, you guys and Robert has always said that we don't have to get bonds or loans or anything like that. We're able to do this, so. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2022-11? Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'm gonna sign this right now.
After all that sewer work, did the water infiltration fix quite better?
Our I went down for a while, then that we had some paperwork that showed when Brian came that with rain events, it wasn't as bad as it used to be. But we still have issues.
And we've enlisted the engineer, Bolton and May, to do a study with flow meters, various points,
Mhm.
but it's been so darn dry
Yeah,
that they can't get any data, you know.
and they talked about smoking again, maybe in the spring.
Right.
Yeah. But I do think that some of it has been taken care of with some of the lining of pipes and stuff like that, but
It's better.
it's better, but we're still not there. And to show the state that we're really trying, we have to continue to do that stuff, so. And then we have, from our Good Thunder Fire Relief, we have requests of a $200 increase per firefighter. And, we had some paperwork talking about what they currently get. And this would be an increase of $200, and this is their, should I read the letter? You think?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
September 9th, 2022, dear City Council, at the regular meeting of the Good Thunder Fire Department Relief Association on August 23rd, 2022, the Executive Board, having reviewed our accounts and investment, approved a $200 increase of the annual benefit for vested eligible members. The increase will change the benefit from $2,000 a year to $2,200 a year. The increase is well below the maximum benefit of $3,200 as calculated by the state auditor's maximum benefit worksheet found on SC-22, which is recently submitted. The Relief Association is proud to have maintained a zero required city contribution for many years. We monitor our investments closely and strive to ensure that the city of Good Thunder is not required to contribute. The market has been favorable to ensure that the city of Good Thunder, oh, excuse me, I think I just read the same line again. Our investment strategy has enabled us to increase our total available assets to comfortably sustain this increase. Should our investment positions fall, we will gladly request to reduce the annual benefit so that the city is not held liable for additional contributions. At this time, the Good Thunder Fire Department Relief Association requests City Council approval to amend our bylaws, increasing the benefit from $2,000 to $2,200 effective immediately. And it's got our information for our chief, and the letter is from Dylan Bruns, Treasurer, Good Thunder Fire Department Relief Association. And just a note again, this is $1,000 lower than the state auditor's maximum benefit. Would somebody like to motion to approve that?
So move.
I'll second that motion.
Good. All in favor?
I just want to discuss this just a little bit,
Okay.
just so people understand why they do this.
Yeah, it's important.
The benefit is currently $2,000 a year. And the state figures this out, that in case there's a mass casualty incident, every firefighter gets killed. They have to pay everybody out. And that's where this calculation comes from, that they base this on. And I've seen the audit where the Relief Association is funded at 178% of that. So it isn't like they're scratching at the very top or anything like this. They do have quite a large cushion that they're rising to here. So at any rate, I just thought I just thought I'd throw that out there so that people kind of understood why they come to us and ask. Because what happens is that if that were to happen and they're underfunded, the city has to make up the difference. So, you know, at $2,000 a member times 20 members, you know, if they only had half of that funded, the city would have to pay the rest. Chances of that are not that great, but we've never operated in the negative.
Right.
You know, we've always operated in the positive.
Okay,
So with that,
okay, so we had a first and a second, all in favor,
I,
motion carried. Excuse me. All right, we have medical insurance for employees. And I think this kind of just leads me to want to welcome Race as our new city maintenance worker. He got his first taste of snow today. Did all right, huh?
Anything
Yeah,
benefit?
that's a plus. So, oh, I have this paperwork. It is right here. So we just need to, medical insurance for employees. We have some information. We can discuss this during personnel meeting, but, so we'll probably do that because this is talking about insurance rates and stuff like that. So when we have our personnel meeting, I think that would be a good time to determine,
we can.
if he would like the single coverage that's offered, and if he wants to change that, he would pay the additional. Okay, so we'll table that for our personnel meeting. We need a motion for that.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under legal advice, we have our small city development loan. If any update. Which I think we had something.
Yeah, you got a letter from Kennedy on it. The county is wanting to have this rectified by the end of the year.
Well. We would like it rectified by a long time ago, but we can't. So when they say rectify that, does that mean? What part do we have in that?
So Kennedy sent out letters to the signer and the co-signer requesting payment. And I have not heard otherwise, so I'm assuming he has heard nothing, so I think it's up to you guys to decide if you want him to pursue court or what you would like to do.
Well, we decided that already a long time ago.
We did.
We do want to pursue it. Up to a reasonable amount, you know,
Yeah, we had an amount
well,
in that one meeting. I just don't remember what it was.
we didn't want to go to 10 grand.
Yeah. But we also, we all talked about how we wanted to make sure that people knew we were serious about this because we don't take it lightly that this is going on the way it is. And at least we can say we tried.
I mean, I think that's all public, right? We can talk about this, right? Or is any of this not public? Any of this?
Does it say-
Yeah,
No, it's not.
No, nothing is attorney-client, yeah.
well,
County seeking reimbursement for our half. And if anything, we collect from the loan holders, the county wants half of that, and then we still owe half of what's.
Yep.
That's how they,
that's how they got that worked.
yep,
That's why it was kind of a decision for us to decide whether or not we wanted to pursue it or not, because we could, spend $5,000 and you end up with one.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is you need to put forth the notice to future people anyway that might apply for that loan, that we're not just gonna do nothing, try to collect.
Over the last 6 months, or you don't know
No,
that.
no payment has been made in
2 years.
28 months, I wanna say.
So the county gets half of what you get back.
Yeah,
Do they split that lawyer bill up then or not?
I don't know that.
No, we cover the cost of the lawyer bill too.
Okay, we don't.
You would think they kind of would if they were asked.
Well, because if we get money back because of going, to court, we paid for that, so.
I've thought about
At that
that.
point-
There is a way you can do that. You can, if we're the collector, you can subtract half of the attorney's fees from the fact that you send to the county. Whether that'll fly or not, you don't know, but. Person can do that.
Seems reasonable.
Mhm.
So anyway, we have already decided to do that. I guess that's kind of,
Yeah. they just-
I know that he asks in this letter here that we need to decide. We've already decided that we. want
Yeah,
to
we made a
proceed.
motion to that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
You instructed him to
Yeah.
send letter to the cosigner.
And he sent the letter out to the owner, the
One.
signer and the co-signer. And then from there, I'm sure it's heard, he gave them 30 days and has heard nothing and
Oh, okay. And the other thing is, might as well throw this out there. Nobody wants to take over an old gas station property. The banks don't, nobody does. So in theory, what can happen here is that we could put all this work, collect and all of that. We have no right to property. We don't want that property as a city. And they could still remain open. This is the way I understand that. It's not right.
But
That's the way it is.
Cosigner was liable, right? The cosigner has assets that aren't that building.
That's correct. That's correct. But we don't, who knows what the court will do? We don't know that. I asked that question specifically, that what could happen here is that they would be able to remain open. Because nobody wants the property. No one will take title to it. We don't. No other.
Equipment, right? Equipment that was financed, you sure could take that or something.
Good, yeah.
there wasn't liens or any mortgages put on that equipment though either.
Right.
So
I mean, it's possible.
Smith and Region 9 have lots of liens, but not on the equipment that we financed or whatever.
Right. That we know of. Who knows when it goes through the courts, what'll really happen? What'll really be found out? We don't know. If it even goes there. So,
You'd almost be able to set that direction, when you saying we don't want to go after the property, we want our money. And they'd have to come up with a. Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's the direction. That is the direction. We do not want the property.
All right. And we already spoke about this. Offer to the school was sent and waiting on a response. We'll move on to unfinished business. Just a FYI, we never did discuss raises were never approved in 2022. So maybe come January with new rates and things like that. You'll have to discuss. Well, we already had our budget, but
Yeah, I mean, we'll discuss that all later, but I don't really believe that. We didn't discuss it because we didn't have a street man.
no, I know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, first of the year.
Just gone through the
First of the
equity
year,
thing,
yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of all was
Yep.
all at the same time.
And we need to set a sheriff's meeting, which we'll have to maybe be in contact with. Who would be the best person to meet with for that?
Well, I was gonna suggest that we authorize Ashley to work with Kennedy to make that all happen.
Okay,
We get the right verbiage, get the right everything the first time around.
get that ready ahead of time.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it has to be done together, with the sheriff's
Their
department.
past contract and rewrite is what you're saying, because they provided us the contract before.
Yeah. But
You
this
wanna
time
take-
here, I would like to give authorization to Ashley to work with Kennedy and with the sheriff to work that together so that, we can come up with a contract.
should I try to get a hold of Mike Mauer then? Since I think that's who you talked to the first.
I did originally talk to Mike Mauer back in the day when we were leaving. And I think maybe, as council, we know we want our ordinances. That's our main thing, right? Our enforced. I know
Oh,
there was
yeah,
talk,
we want it, we want,
there was talk about like different ordinances. We really wanted to make sure that got enforced, because I mean, we have a lot of ordinances that talk about, you know, siding and shingles and stuff like that.
yep, yep.
But do we
Yep.
want, you know, do we want them dealing with that?
Well, I think we have to determine what they will deal with
Okay,
and go from
go
there.
from there. Okay,
But yes, we do have ordinances out there that do say that if you don't have the siding on the house as a violation of ordinance,
yeah,
so.
okay. So if Ashley, work with Kennedy and with Mike.
We've never enforced them.
No, but they're just on the books. They've been there for, you know, considerable amount of
They're
time.
very hard to enforce.
Okay, do we need a motion to set that up, or
I think it goes out
Okay.
there. She's got free.
we have a motion to that effect then?
I will make that a motion.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And keep us maybe updated as to when that's gonna happen. And then a personnel meeting,
Next week sometime, I'm hoping, huh?
see,
For me, this week's full. so-
well, just not Thursday and Friday, you know, because that's Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
Next week, isn't it?
I mean, maybe Monday, otherwise,
Yeah, Monday might work, if we can do that quickly. It'd be nice to have Kennedy here.
well, yeah, because that's a week, so.
Yeah.
Check with Kennedy if he can be there. And that would be
21st.
Monday,
5:30.
21st. 5:30 work for you to get back in time?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody like that time?
I'll have to check with the boss, but yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Might be on.
Open or closed person.
Personnel meetings are closed per open meeting law unless they're opened. Okay, okay. We need a motion to have our personnel meeting Monday, the 21st at
So moved.
5:30.
So move, if possible.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
Okay. And then, you want to contact Kennedy or do you,
Yeah, if I have to contact him about that sheriff's.
Okay.
anyways.
and then let us know if that works out for him? Okay, and you also want to discuss, excuse me, this,
You have first and second.
oh. Personnel meeting, do I have a second for that?
You do have a
You do.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, perfect, thank you,
Motion on the floor is all.
thank you. My sinuses are making my brain not work, apparently. Oh, and then we have, on the last thing you want to discuss,
It was the
signature stamp.
the
that we wanna
family of
make
Robert
sure.
wanted his signature stamp all removed, but the attorney says that he doesn't advise to removing it, but we can do something like get a lockbox that no one else, maybe I would suggest you or Ron, maybe more because you're around town.
Yeah.
In case they do, somebody needs to.
And I'm done soon, so that would be,
Yeah.
that would make more sense for Ron to have that.
So if that would be okay, we can take care of it. It'd be like a gun box or something, you know what I mean? So that we can.
Just because, so we can't remove them from here, we'll put them in a box to,
Right, that way there's gonna be.
that seems like a good solution for the time being.
And I understand,
You were just talking about personnel decisions or whatever. Is this gonna include possibility of raises and this kind of thing for this year or next year?
Well, that'll be determined in January.
Okay, good, because I think the people that are on council should have the right to enter in.
Yeah, no, I'd
Yeah,
be
that's
first
we
year.
talked about the new rates and stuff like that will be discussed in January.
anyway, I can understand why the family would like to do that.
Yeah.
It makes good sense, good business sense.
So do you have an idea of what kind of box you want to get?
Yeah, I do have an idea, but I don't know what, and I don't know how much it'll cost, but we'll get something picked up.
Yeah.
Cash box around.
About 80 of them.
A cash box, would that be sufficient?
They can be
I
in
want-
the cash box and throw it in the sheriff's office.
I just want to have a
You want a little
box
century?
with no connection to anybody. That Ron is the only one that knows what
Okay.
He can set it up. I don't know.
We need a motion for that.
Maybe it's one of these things. I don't
Yep.
Should we have a motion for that, just to make sure that we have it on the record? Motion to, okay, get a lockbox for the stamps. We have a first.
A second.
I,
Okay, are you seconding?
oh, I thought, I'd say I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
I thought I heard somebody seconded.
Try to keep me on my toes here.
you said third, I thought. So.
The Century Firebox, is what you're thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, with like a.
Sarah, do you want
Yeah.
to give Grace a chance to update on anything?
yes, we don't have that on there. Race, would you like to give us an update on what's been happening? And if there's anything that you need from us too? Questions?
At this point, I think I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go. I'm sure that I'll have questions kind of as I come across something that I might not be familiar with yet, but at this point, I think we're pretty good.
We appreciate the fact that you are digging into it and going. You
Hitting the
got-
ground running.
you kind of got thrown in here at a bad time, but we appreciate just mush on. I always tell that to all my guys, mush forward.
Rush forward, just keep swimming.
Yep.
All right,
Oh, I did, we don't have to talk about it tonight, but we talked about tearing the house down.
Mhm.
Our house, and I did get a estimate on it, and I don't know if you want to deal with it tonight or not. Probably won't happen.
well, you can tell us how much it is.
It won't happen this 13.
Okay,
And I think Robert talked to somebody about the same price too, so. Like I said, we don't have to go for it tonight.
For that house here?
Yeah,
At how much?
13 to tear it down
is that,
all the way.
and falling away?
For me, they can't do it. I asked fire chief and he says it's, the power lines are there and too close to the
Trust me.
depending on the wind would be the same thing again. And then you got to go in there and make sure there's no asbestos anywheres, shingles included. And so it's just a matter of, it's gone that way.
The city would have to sign off saying if they damage existing
And you'd still have to end up,
buildings there.
Well, there's a lot of buildings that go up in the middle of blizzards.
Oh.
no, Clamor looked at it and stuff. He said, so you just gotta, well, you know that from being on part, there's some houses you just can't do. Especially like the wrong shingles are on it. I mean, stuff like that. So
Who did you get the bid from by chance?
boning.
Well, maybe if that's something we want to do, we probably should get a couple more bids.
No, like I say, Robert got one and I mean, nothing isn't really in writing yet. So I just got an estimate out. So it's in that area anyway, no matter who you get.
Okay,
The only other thing before we, Ron submitted a bill from Paul Barnard.
Oh, yeah.
For mowing the ditch,
okay,
Taylor Drive, both sides, Highway 1. For $160. We want to approve that, we can do a check tomorrow or however you want to do it.
what do you guys think
It needed
for
more,
that?
so.
Oh, yeah, no question about it.
Yep.
Especially before it snowed.
Yep.
So it had to be done. We just need a motion to probably approve that bill.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to do that. We have to pay it because we only got so many days to get it paid.
Yep. We have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Motion carried.
What was that, 160?
Tom, thank you for doing that.
Yes, 160.
Sarah,
Please. Bob, one of these times, Bob, you're gonna be on the floor.
can I ask
Sorry,
one more
it's loud.
question?
What's that, Maureen?
I just have one more question about the school building. I just want to make sure I understand this. You say you've put in the $1 offer with the school district. Is that contingent on Mike Drummer buying it or working with the city? My concern is if there's no contingency on that and Mike Drummer backs out, the city's going to be stuck with that building.
We won't,
So-
we will not accept the offer unless we have Mike on board. We won't take the school over unless Mike's on board.
Okay, so there'll be like a binding contract with him and everything before this is done?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the city does not get stuck with that building, you know, and all of a sudden now the taxpayers have to pay to maintain it or tear it down or whatever, once the school district washes their hands from it.
Right. No, you're right. We want to make sure of that too.
Okay. That's all I had. And I just wanted to welcome the new maintenance guy to Good Thunder.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for taking the job. We appreciate it. That's it.
And just so you understand too, we really don't think the school will accept that. The school board will accept that bid. But it's out there
Okay.
because they sold Min Lakes, Min Lake for what? 250,
251, yeah.
250,000. So
We
they're,
had 125 here.
they're looking, 125 is what they're looking for here. So
What's that? What was that? 100,000 for what?
125,000 is what they'd like to get for the building here. So we don't really think that they're going to take that offer from us.
So. what
Okay,
on this
it was
bill?
it was my understanding that Mike Drummer offered them 150,000 for the building and they turned that down.
No, never
No,
happened.
that didn't happen.
Okay,
No.
He offered 20,000 to them at one time and they rejected that. They never brought the offer forward
Actually, I think he offered it to the attorney.
to the realtor.
The realtor.
Yeah, that was a different
Okay.
offer.
okay, that makes more sense then. I just want to make sure that the city does not get stuck with that building and the taxpayers have to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right,
Don't move.
to adjourn, okay,
Second.
all in favor?
All right.
Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
I think too bad, 8:30.
All right, now I'll sign these.